Fun.
It is so time. Wow, now we're in New York. Like what? From Alabama, New York, Illinois,
Hi.
everywhere.
Yeah,
New
bouncing around. Oh my goodness.
Jersey,
Hi,
New Jersey.
everybody.
Gosh, oh, we got Ann. She's already popped in. Ann is fast to the playlist.
She's on it. Hi! Oh my God, I've been having a lot of fun, and I've been taking down notes. And Ruth's last session, when she mentioned we're all instruments in God's hands, and then using what God puts in front of you, I was just like, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh
So
goodness.
Ruth is already back from Alabama to New York. Ruth,
Oh, that's a
no.
fast flight.
So this is our hangout session. My name is
I
Dr.
know.
Jen Lowry. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure, I am Naima Joseph. That's my pen name. So under that pen name, I write culturally diverse romance with characters who aren't really strong in their faith, but who learn to draw closer to Jesus as they fall in love. Um, and then under the pen name Kayla Marie Pierre, I write the Happy Harper series about a little girl growing up in Brooklyn enjoying the adventures of life. And it teaches kids to just see the fun and the enjoyment in their everyday lives and where they're from.
So I have your children's book in my upstairs. I carry your children's book to every place I go
Oh, that's really sweet.
because I have a feeling that no matter where I go and I'm around students, I have an opportunity to say, oh, here's a book.
You have been such an amazing support. And there's so many ways for us to support each other, right? Whether you can't buy everybody's book, but you can definitely share out information. You can retweet. You can definitely give shout outs. One of my fun ways that I like to do is grab books from authors, not to keep for myself, but like little children's libraries or little libraries around where I am. Because if you're in North Carolina and one is in Alabama and one is in Texas, it's not likely that you're going to end up in Brooklyn or around New York City to be able to get your books necessarily out. So if I have it, I'm going to find local little libraries and stick them in there. So your book is reaching others in different ways.
When it was Read Across America and the opportunity to read across America, I could have picked a book, any book, for a group of students and just had to say, wait a minute, I now have Happy Harper.
This-
I have a book now that I will share with you. And so just being able to support other authors is really so important.
I-
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think when you think about kind of your world, those are I, my biggest fans. They're adorable. The triplets. Yay! Hi guys. When you think about just the different ways that you can be coming together with other writers, there are people who write in your genre that you can be cross promoting with. There are people who may not write in your genre, but the work that you do outside of being a writer might lend itself to sharing the information. So, as a teacher, Jen being able to share out a children's book where she wouldn't necessarily be able to share out the romance books that I write because they're not for that age. But really just thinking about some creative ways that you can be supporting other authors and other authors can be doing the same as well. Like it's a community.
but you do that so well because with your newsletter, and you can tell people how to sign up for your newsletter, but you're always celebrating other authors and promoting other authors on your newsletter, like books that go on sale or books you're reading or authors that you know that you're putting up their image and their blurbs. Like you've got that system of support embedded in you. So I think it's a natural extension. It's like hitting in all the areas of your life. Like, talk
Mhm.
about a little bit about your newsletter and how you always encourage other authors there.
Yeah, so I started doing it before I realized that this was a thing that other people do as well, that you can be looking to communities of writers that have are in similar genres or in topics that your readers might be interested in as well, because you can't write every single book that your readers are gonna read, even if you are the fastest writer. So why not be highlighting other authors who are writing in similar genre and be like, oh, I saw this, I think you might be interested, have you thought about this? I know that there are more formal systems now, which I learned at the beginning of this year. I really learned it, but when I first started my newsletter, I was doing it just books that I was reading, I was sharing. But you could be swapping with other authors. Like, I'm in a clean romance Facebook group, and folks will post things that they're like, oh, I have this going on, can somebody share? I can share yours. Like, there are ways to be building community and integrating it just into different processes that you already have in place.
I love when you brought up the Facebook group because you also
Mhm.
are a leader of your own Facebook group.
Yeah, Christian romance writers. It's on there again. Just it was a place to curate the books that I wanted to be seeing and wanted to things that I would be reading anyway. I was like, oh, if anybody's there, there's information. I might as well share it because I figured somebody else would be looking for the same as well.
I love it so much. So there's just no fear of connecting, just going out there and putting yourself, okay, talk about putting yourself out there. Talk about your pen names and managing. I get the joyful laugh, that giggle. Well, yeah, because you put it early in the welcome. Like when
uh,
I said Shelly Mack is here, she
mhm.
writes children's books too. And you're
Uh,
like, oh, I do too. And here's that pen name for that. So talk about how you've managed to survive in that world.
yeah, it's interesting to be switching your brain from kid lit to Christian romance or clean romance. Um, I, I I don't do a very good job at it, but it's better on days when I decide like this day I'm just focused on kidlit, or this day I'm just focused on Christian romance. I have different social medias for each, because again, if you're thinking about your audience, right, they're coming to you for a very specific reason. So you don't want to cloud their feed with anything that they're not that interested in. So it's a matter of just making sure that you're curating the space to provide the information that your audience who's coming to you wants and not something else.
Ruth asked, what specifically inspires you to write books?
Um, Specifically for Christian romance, it's interesting because I think you can write for the Lord without ever even mentioning the name of Jesus. And you can still be sharing out the word. But there was a calling for me specifically to write Christian romance, because I can write clean romance. And I've been fighting the battle of like, do I switch to clean romance or do I stay in Christian romance? But there was a calling a couple of years ago where that was the niche that I needed to focus on. So it's an obedience thing right now with it. If the Lord moves so that I expand outside of that, great. But for other writings, there was nothing specific that the Lord said, I need you to just stay here. But we know as believers that everything we do for the glory of God, right? So whether I'm mentioning Jesus or not mentioning Jesus, that will never change the fact that I'm here to move his kingdom's work forward.
And now let's switch gears. You ready? This is
Yeah.
how quick we're going to move from Christian romance. I know
Mhm.
the inspiration behind Happy Harper, and that's your own grandfather. So if you're talking
Yes.
about inspiring
Mhm.
moments, it's honoring your grandfather also through the work. So you could talk a little bit about that because that's your kidlit world.
That's my kidlit world. Yeah, absolutely. So this book specifically, Happy Harper Grandpa Comes Home, I have this kind of my grandparents and elders thread throughout all my books because I grew up in the Haitian community. Our elders are very important to us. We listen to them, we hear them, the stories that they bring. Like my grandfather is a storyteller. He's not a writer, but he's always told stories. His imagination is as bright and bold as what I've inherited. So Happy Harper is about a little Grandpa Comes Home specifically is about a little girl who finally gets to have her grandfather move from Haiti to come live with the family in Brooklyn. She's 5 years old and has never met him in person. It's not my story, but I grew up with my grandfather, who is a Haitian immigrant, who came here to build a better life for his immediate family, his extended family, and through his work where he sacrificed going to school when he came here because he wanted to work to be able to support other people to come. He's funded, degrees after degrees and the American dream for everybody else, but he hasn't been celebrated. So this was my opportunity to just celebrate him, to say, the quiet heroes in your life that nobody shines the spotlight on, but who day in and day out are there doing the work. I wanted to give him an opportunity to have the spotlight shine on him.
Which is also your Ruby Bridges work.
Yeah.
So when you first started writing, where did you feel, Ruth said, those sound like such sweet books, so personal. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
When you first started writing, we talk about the different lanes. You're like on an expressway and there's different lanes and avenues and exit points.
Mm-hmm.
But when you first started writing, where did you enter?
I think even if you are somebody who writes across genres, there will always be a thread. So I had to pull back and identify what those threads were in my books, regardless of what I was writing. And for me, a couple of different threads that are very clear are that it's going to be culturally diverse. So I always forget what that verse is in Revelations, that when we're in heaven, it's going to be all tongues, all nations. So my books reflect the diversity of what we will see in heaven, right? And then the other thread for me that's always been there is about family, it's about friendship, it's about relationships. So I think even if you're not thinking of a particular genre, and I wasn't thinking about a particular genre when I first started, those kind of themes have always been there. So that's what you find in my books, regardless of which ones you're reading.
So now let's talk about friendships. I'm so blessed to know you.
Oh my goodness, absolutely same. We know this.
Like heart overflowing love for you. To know that we met online.
I know.
And we'll be like actually hugging each other in person soon.
Just in a couple of weeks. I know. I am North Carolina. I am coming. Get the red carpet out. I cannot wait. I can't. Yes, meeting you, meeting Pooja is gonna be great. Yeah.
So just knowing that meeting someone online, you can say, well, they're so far removed. They're, you're talking Brooklyn, small town, like such difference, but sisters in Christ.
I know. And we're supposed to be known by our love, right? So if you have any message that you have will either be supported or not, based on your relationships with people. And I think you, Jen, has been one of these people who embraces and show Christ without ever saying a word. Like your heart for people and your heart for community and your heart for relationships, just you live that love of Jesus for people. Even if you never say the word Jesus, it comes through very clearly. And I think that was one of the very first things when I joined the WWJ, that, and Ann Harrison is the one who was like, oh, you should check out WWJs. And I was like, oh, what is that? And I took a look and just Jen getting to know her has been just an absolute blessing. And then now expanding to the community has been amazing.
Tish is giving you a shout out right now. Can you see?
I just saw. Hey, Tish. Tish is right in sessions. She has 5 o'clock her time in Texas, 6 o'clock my time here in Brooklyn. Now Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on her YouTube channel, Her Right With Me. It's been just fantastic. There's amazing community there that have been able to just talk to people, see what they're working on. Nick is in the community as well. It's amazing how you just find pockets of community that you just draw into and see people and are able to support them.
Yeah, Ann just said that y'all met on Twitter.
We did, yes.
And when we're talking with my monarchs are like, "Oh, I'm already following one of your friends." I'm like, "What?" Like, you think about the world being so large.
I know.
And God brings us together on so many different platforms and places. And that's why when like Tish is pretty much everywhere. You're everywhere. Like, it's great to be everywhere. You never know when you'll find your next best friend or how you'll get there.
How you get connected to people. That don't believe in random, but it almost feels random. Like you're like, how in the world? Like, where did I initially start and then ended up here? Yeah, it's crazy.
And we call them God things.
Absolutely, yes.
Like, LOL, yes. Like, it's like, then you look back. Like, here we are sitting, right? And we're getting ready to hug in just a few weeks. And to think about, like, for us, it's not just about writing. It's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I share my life with you.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Like, it's writing friendship that goes deeper than just, oh, I've got a tip about Amazon ads. And thanks for that, because you got me now searching and watching, ready and prepping.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're there to share knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
Tips. But then when Solomon goes and gets his car yesterday,
his soprano ride.
you and Riley and it's like, y'all, my kid. And you're saying, yeah, they keep it interesting. When things happen and like, I feel like Sam and Solomon.
Oh, I know. Oh my goodness, Sam, Solomon, and Eli. Like, I will send Jen things. Happy Harbor, I was sending images. I was like, what do you guys think about this? How about this image? And they were just giving tips and ideas, and then it was getting upvoted or so absolutely I know them very well, yes.
And that's what we need, though. We need people in our corner that are our friends that can also be honest with us, because then when it came my turn and I'm building the Sweet Potato Jones cover, you're like, okay, no, or there's something there. No, yes, oh, I like that font, but no, you're covering the eye. And we did it in like what, 30 minutes to an hour.
I know, you are quick with those things. I here's this, and then all of a sudden I have a completely different version. And she's like, oh, I worked on this, and here's what. Oh, how'd you do that so fast? And then within like half hour, you had a final rebranded. I'm so excited that you have your rights back to Sweet Potato, and you'll be.
Yes. So I did the approval of the letter. I said, yes, this is it. This is it. So now I'm waiting for the final email. But the next email came in, and now I'm waiting for that final DocuSign. So when that comes, it's going to be a celebration. Because
when does it look like for you to be relaunching? Is it immediate? You already have the recovered. Yeah.
It's immediate because Tish said she values honesty most definitely. And Tish has been phenomenal with me with honesty too. And like, Tish has read Sweet Potato Jones, and it's like
Mhm.
that's something that I just can't change in interior. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going back in and changing a character or fixing a line.
Mm,
I feel like that story
mm.
needs to be the way that God intended that story to be.
Yeah, yeah.
When we talk about rebranding,
Mhm.
cover,
Yeah.
blurb,
A blurb, yep. Mhm.
title, because that was not the original title that the Lord gave to me. And I
Yeah.
feel like honoring God in what we do is if you hear that voice and you
Yeah.
know that that's that direction, um, going that way. But
Mhm.
Anne's gonna love it because I'm gonna be putting it up for auditions for audiobook because you guys know how
Oh my goodness.
Anne knows for accessibility, I love
Yeah.
audio, and so I cannot wait to be able that was one of the major reasons why I wanted
Yeah.
back from my traditional publishing company was so that I could move forward and really work on those dreams that I had for Sweet Potato from the very beginning, which was not just have her as part of my collection, but to have
Mhm.
audio for accessibility. So it's easy now because you helped me
Um,
cover, looking at the cover. Can't
I
wait.
know. Jen, actually, that was a really good reminder for some folks. I know that there are some folks who are also hybrid, where they are traditionally published and now are also doing virtual. Just because you are traditionally published, your contract, the terms of your contract are to a certain point, right? So after you get your rights back, if it's written in your contract, or you might even just try to get your rights back, like you can rebrand, you can change the story and publish it and have it be part of your publishing collection as opposed to the traditional publisher.
I'm glad you said that because I'm holding something, an original. I'm going to cover the name. I have a name down here.
No.
So you've done that in your own way
Mhm.
over time, and talk about your own transition.
Yeah, I wasn't so for Ruby Bridges, that is traditional, and I don't own the rights to that. My contract was very clear. For these books, when I first started, I did not, for the romance, I did not have a pen name. So I was working under my normal name, and then I have a career that there's nothing that I'm like embarrassed to show, but it's a lot more helpful if I keep the two names separate. So I had to rebrand from the earlier books that I had. So some of them are still floating around where my original name is on there, like the coffee in Jen's hands. But yeah, sometimes you get to do that. It's a process, but it's not, it's doable.
It's doable, and you did it. So you're
Yeah.
proof that you can go in
Mhm.
and rebrand and start because you really start from scratch when you do that.
You do. Yeah, I mean, it's helpful, right? Because I didn't have that many books to start with, but I imagine for people with much larger backlists, you might need some help. Because it's time consuming, but it's not super expensive.
So Ruth asked, "How long have you been writing?"
Um, Went to school for creative writing, then learned that you made no money from writing, went followed the traditional career route, and then came back to writing just in 2020, maybe 2000. No, that's not true. Came back to writing in 2016, where I was writing more, less creative and more just like journals and articles for publications, educational publications. And then I came back to creative writing in 2020.
Ah, so early, you knew.
Yeah. Yeah. In the fifth grade, I let Miss Romaine, wherever you are,
Shout out,
gave,
shout out to teachers right now.
gave me a bunch of books when I graduated the fifth grade. And one of those books, because she knew that I was a diary keeper and have always been, now it's transitioned to journals. She gave me Anne Frank's diary. And then I read that book and I was just like, what? words change the world. Like kids can change the world. Like my little diary can change the world. It was mind blowing and mind opening. And yeah, shout out to teachers who see kids and who hear who they are and see how they connect and move through the world. She saw this little quiet introvert, and was like, I see how you connect with the world. You might want to take a look at this.
Ah, so she said, I know Jen's favorite book, but what's your favorite book or
I,
book?
oh, I don't have any favorites, but I have favorite writers. Um, oh my God. Why did I just blank on her name? Oh my goodness.
Because you're live and there's no pressure here, right? When you're having to call it out,
Edwidge, Ed,
you want that.
Edwidge Dantacat is a very prolific writer. She's Haitian American, and I sit through her stories and I'm just like, oh my God, when will I ever write like this? But my goodness, the way that she weaves stories and characters and people and descriptions, I'm just like, wow. And she does it in every single book, every single one of them. So
Wow.
yeah, Edwidge Dentacat.
So last minute words. One, I have to say it again. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Haha. I get
So am I. It's all right.
I get to take her to my favorite restaurant.
We're going. We're going.
Bob, we're coming for you. Restaurant in Chapel Hill is my favorite restaurant. And Bibimbap, we're coming. Bibimbap tofu. That's what I'm getting. I'll in my order. I don't even have to look at the menu. So really looking forward to just seeing where the Lord is taking you.
Same here with Monarch, and congratulations to all of the authors who just launched. I have a study in Terminal already. It's sitting right on my counter. Actually, I just saw it. It's going into a free little library near me.
I love it.
And then I can't wait I think I pre-ordered some of the ones that are ready for pre-order. So yeah, I can't wait to get all the books, all the things.
I'm calling Eli right now because the Lowe's truck just pulled up. I'm on Lowe's truck duty.
I love it.
In the middle of the session.
What are you getting delivered?
Awesome. Okay, bye, babe.
Are you getting anything fun?
Oh yeah, we're getting deliveries. We're working on that house move. So
I know.
All of our new beginnings that we're gonna have in our family. But just one, thank you for being here and hanging out with me. It's a day about joy.
It is a day about joy, and coffee brings me joy. And I wanted to show Tish's Write With Me mug that I drink my coffee in now when I'm writing. So yeah, see it? It's the Write With Me mug. It's at Tish's store. So if you haven't had a chance, go pick it up, because this is now my writing mug.
Awesome. So I cut the screen so that way you could see big, and I was just stuff. So sorry for all the.
I was like, oh no, what's happening?
Yeah, you're here. Everybody saw it. So now we're getting ready. I've got my look printed. What?
Whoa, you are serious.
So without you in my life, there would have been no spreadsheets. So you are the spreadsheet to my life. So now,
I like to spreadsheet joy.
So you did, and now I just take this off the spreadsheet. And then now we've got Caitlin Alexander coming at 9. I cannot wait for you guys to meet Caitlin. And talking about Anne Frank, that was not planned. I did not pay for that, but Anne Frank is highlighted, and she's still here as one of the summer reading, and a book that we have in her books all about her life. So I cannot wait for you guys to meet Caitlin. She's going to be talking about religious diversity.
Okay.
So
Okay.
super excited to hear from her and
Uh-huh.
how she honors her family. And
Great.
that's what it's about. What kind of common themes are we talking about so far? Because
Mhm.
one, we talked about readers as our families engaging
Mhm.
with our book escape room.
Yep.
Talked about family and community and
Absolutely.
Luke and us. And
Yeah.
now we talked about Grandpa Comes Home for Happy
Mhm.
Hour series and all
Yeah.
family. So maybe there's a theme here too
It
that God has
it's
intended.
evolving, right? Yeah, I'm starting to see it.
Let's kind of keep our eyes out today as we move through the sessions and see, because that's why we don't, it's a mystery. I did
Mhm.
not ask for titles. I did not ask for blurbs because I wanted it to be a God led, whatever God gives us in this space, we move and we grow with that.
Yep.
So let us see how little golden nuggets start to emerge throughout the lessons today. So awesome. Take
Awesome.
a break.
Yes.
If Pooja was
Get
here,
some water, she would say.
you will be giving us air exercises. Uh, get up and do some jumping jacks. I
I
will
know.
read during the next session, probably.
She will say, get some fruit, snack on some vegetables, carrots, celeries, put the chips down.
Yep.
No, no,
So,
she'll say you can enjoy a couple of chips. Don't deprive yourself.
and I can say if you need a cookie, go get one. This is like definitely hydrate. Hydrate.
Yep.
That is Pooja. So
Mhm.
we're calling out one of our author friends, Pooja Chili Curry, that we love.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
so, guys, thanks for joining us. Let's go take a break, and we'll see
All
you guys
right.
here at 9:45. You do not want to miss it for Caitlin Alexander. Okay, bye.
Awesome. See you guys in the chat. Bye.